Today I want to intro our topic is joining technology in rail industry. Okay, first of all, why is important joining technology in rail industry? That was very important because we want to maintain the feasibility and variable method. And then how many type of joining have in rail industry? There was F3 type. First, fusion welding, resistant spot welding, and then terminate welding. Okay, so we was choose about the terminate welding. It's a welding procedure that permanently join conductor using molten metal. Okay, problem in rail industry. When the train pass, the immense pressure will force the ground to quake and even crack. Okay, basic way for welding in railroad track. Okay, there was two. First, electric soldering. Second, thermite welding, which was we chose. Why use it thermite welding? Because there was great affections, consistent quality, facility. Thermite welding is a chemical welding process in which an exothermic chemical reaction is used to supply the essential heat energy. That reaction involves the burning of thermite, which is mixture of fine aluminum powder and iron oxide in the ratio about 1 equal to 3 by weight. Although a temperature is of 3000 may be attained as a result of the reaction, preheating of the thermite mixture up to about 1300 Celsius is essential in order to start the reaction. Operation of thermite welding. Thermite welding process is essential a casting and foundry process. Okay, the various steps involved in thermite welding are: first one, the two pieces of metal be joined are properly cleaned and the edge is prepared. Then, the wax is poured into the joint so the wax pattern is formed. The weld is to be obtained. Third one, a molding box is kept around a joint. Refrigerator sand is packed carefully around the wax pattern. Fourth one, a bottom opening is provided to run off the molten wax. Then, the thermite is mixed in a crucible which is made refractory material that can withstand. And then, the igniter. The igniter means normal barium peroxide or magnesium is placed on top of the mixture and is lighted with a red hot metal rod or magnesium. The reaction takes about 30 seconds and highly superheated molten iron is allowed to flow into the prepared mold activity, the part to be welded.
Material of thermite welding. Thermite is a mechanical mixture of metallic aluminum and iron oxide that has been treated. Thermite reaction in a cubical line with magnesia produce molten steel. A tapping pin is used to plug the hole in the thimble, which is then covered with a fire-resistant washer and refractory sand. The correct amount of truly mixed thermite material is placed in the cubicle to charge it. Precaution for thermite welding. There are a lot of precautions that have, for example, first, only a qualified welder with a competency certified should thermite weld track. Second, all requirement equipment should be available on site and in good working condition. Most importantly, workers should be personal protective equipment throughout the process. Third, the rail should be cleaned with a wire brush and corrosion oil before welding takes place. Process of railroad thermite welding. Preparation work. First, we should prepare the welding skin. We need to dig a hole which depth is 300 mm and put the cubicle into the hole. Then unload the railway fastener and measure the temperature of the railway track. Secondly, we need to inspect the railroad track. checking whether the surface is oxide free and whether the rail end position is correct. Finally, this is a critical stage. We must guarantee that the rail ends are aligned. In working process, we began welding the railroad track after all of necessary preparation have been made. Place the sand mold on the steel rails first, then paint the leg proof substance. Preheating is done to get rid of wetness and raise the temperature of sand mold so that bubbles and slats don't disappear. And the last step is inspection. Before using hot and cold grinding required reaction, there are a few things to keep in mind throughout the hot grinding process. First, after 15 minutes, remove the wedge. Second, both sides of the rail are flush with the inside and outside of the welding heel. Cold grinding is used to remove any welding indicate geometric discontinuities. After all, clean the welding area and make a mark on the weld.
Hello, my name is MUHAMMAD and I will explain about the process and the step and advantage and disadvantages. First, I will explain about the process and step. Thermite welding is an effective, highly mobile method of joining heavy section steel structures such as rails. Essentially, a casting process. The high heat input and metallurgical properties of the thermite steel make a process ideal for welding high strength, high hardness steel such as those used for modern rails. Thermite welding is a skilled welding process and must be undertaken by anyone who has been trained and certificated to use it. Detailed operating instructions are provided for each of the process, but the welding method are comprised of 6 main elements. Firstly, a carefully prepared gap must be produced between the two rails, which must then be accurately aligned by means of straight edge to ensure the finished joint is perfectly straight and flat. Preform refractory mold which are manufactured to accurately fit around the specific rail profile are clamped around the rail gap and then sealed in position. Equipment for locating the preheating burner and the thermite container is then assembled. The well cavity formed inside the mold is preheated using an oxy-fuel gas burner with accurately set gas pressure for a prescribed time. The quality of the finished well will depend upon the precision of this preheating process. Fourth, on completion of the preheating, the container is fitted to the top of the mold. The portion is ignited and the subsequent exothermic reaction produce the molten thermite steel. The container incorporates an automatic tapping system enabling the liquid steel, which is at a temperature of excess of 2500 degrees Celsius, to discharge directly into the well cavity. The welded joint is allowed to cool for predetermined time before the excess steel and the mold material is removed from around the top of the rail with the aid of hydraulic trimming device. When cooled, the joint is cleaned of debris and the rail running surface are precision ground the profile. The finished well must be inspected before it is passed as ready for service. Next, I will explain about the advantages and disadvantages of thermite welding. The table shows the advantage and disadvantage application of thermite welding in the rail industry. For the advantages, thermite welding is a simple and fast process of joining similar or dissimilar metal. Second, this process is cheap and no costly power supply is required. Third, this process can be used at the place where power supply is not available. For disadvantages, thermite welding is essentially used for ferrous metal of heavy section. Second, it is uneconomical for welding cheap metal and light part. Thirdly, highly depend on environmental conditions like moisture content, workpiece element, and etc.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad HAKIMI bin ABDUL and I will present about discussion. Railroad are the most efficient transportation mode for having goods on the earth's surface. Railroads are of particular importance for the movement of commodities that heavy and walk in both over long distances where the transportation span represent a large portion of the total delivered cost. Just a few examples of commodities moved by railroad are coal, grain, fertilizer, chemical, forest product, finished motor vehicle and metal. As mentioned, the welding type is thermite welding. The welding process must be installed perfectly and avoid the defect that might be happen during the welding process. The defect that happen during the thermite welding is cold lap, shrinkage cavity and micro porosity. The cold lap defect is often to be found at weld tools in the rail base and are caused by inadequate fusion between weld metal and the surface of rail ends. Shrinkage cavity often found in the rail web area of thermite welds and micro porosity can be referred to the uniformly distributed small pores often observed in weld metal. Okay, for conclusion, to ensure the level crossing improvement, level crossing safety and operational efficiency maintained, the thermite weld must be done properly. This is because when the weld has defect or easy to break, it will be dangerous, traffic will be bad and have currency issues. First, it will be dangerous because having defect can make train to slide out the railroads. This will come out to the second point, which traffic will be bad. Maintaining sliding train and broken weld will take time to fix. So there will be traffic issue. Lastly, currency issue. For the cost to fix the railway and declining customer will make them having currency issue. This is why thermite welding is important to rail industry.